You asked, I delivered. Today I'm going to introduce you to my new podcast, Ask Jenni. I just want to get you some of the feels, introducing myself as a coach, as a business owner, as a wife, as a mother. Join me as we continue this journey of growth together. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm coming right in from a doctor's appointment. Boom, boom, bam. Drop the kids off, go to a doctor's appointment, get on live real quick and get straight to work. But I was listening to a couple of podcasts on my commute today, which was a lot. So kudos to my husband for picking up the kids and taking them to school and all of that good stuff, because it's not for me. I'm not the one. They would be homeschooled. But on the commute, we were listening to a couple podcasts. One by Alex Hermosi, where he was talking about what to do when you make a mistake. And so it got me thinking about unnecessary risk. It got me thinking about what goes into the mindset of an entrepreneur. It goes into identifying that everybody makes mistakes, right? So get out of your head if you think you don't. And it really just made me start to jot down some things in my notes and how to make a mistake. So I think it's 3 components that we really need to take a look at, especially as entrepreneurs. And one is that unnecessary risk. 2 is the customer service component. And then 3, it is contemplating and stop being reactionary. Okay, so let's dive in. We got a couple people on here, that's all I need, 2, 3 folks. So I want to start with unnecessary risk. This is something that, back when business plans were still the core of getting started with businesses. Now I see people start with a business and got 2 words on the paper. But back when it was the core of starting a business, one of the things that you identify are your competitors and any risk associated with taking certain paths, right? You jumping out there and doing something that you have never done without any guidance is an unnecessary risk. So you said, the American dream that if you're anywhere around my age was to go to school and get a good job, right? You're saying that you're going to break that mold. A lot of times, the first in your family to break that mold, you don't necessarily know any other entrepreneurs who have broken that mold, but you go do it. Got you. Yeah, okay. So the first unnecessary risk is you jumping out there without guidance, without mentorship, without some type of coaching, without talking to someone who has done what you are trying to do. That is the number one thing that I see a lot of business owners do, and they're just shooting themselves in the foot. So I see business owners who jump out there and they got all type of graphics. They got flyers, they got logos and business cards, and maybe even got a good old website and all of that stuff, right? They don't know who their target market is. They have not identified how they are going to let people know about this website or let people know about this flyer or this great graphic. They have not identified the structure and processes that need to go in place for taking care of those clients, but they got some good old graphics. And that's because they are seeing what most business owners have, right? You're looking at business owners on social media. You're like, oh, I really love their color scheme. Or, oh, their website was so good. And you're just jumping out there and going straight to that point. Whereas so much work that needs to happen in the beginning stages. Or, my favorite, you jump out there and you get a business or a brick and mortar, right? Especially for people in the tax preparation industry. That's something that we've always seen. We've always seen H&R Blocks and Jackson Hewitts on every corner. And then we have, in more recent years, seen many more mom and pops pop up over the years. So we think that we automatically got to jump into having a business storefront. Unnecessary risk, unnecessary cost. I am going to say this unequivocally, that you do not need any of that in order to start your business. Sorry, I had a little heater on. Especially in the tax prep industry. So another thing is you find yourself making mistakes for things that you think you don't have the answer to without getting the answer first, right? So, and I'll back this up. In the beginning of business, people start to come and ask you for additional services out of what your core offer is. And because you need to make that money, you just start saying yes. You start saying yes. You barely know how to do your core offer. You barely got any processes in place for that. And now you're going to add on this additional service. Well, this could work sometimes, right? I mean, I used to shoot out LLCs like nobody's business, or, just a fee to get a free DUNS number or a free EIN. Yep, give me that money. All of that. I did all of that, right? But I made sure that the research necessary to make sure that I was able to give that client what they needed was done. You guys make some Googleable mistakes. I'm like, what? Why? Or someone brings me their tax return from, a cousin of theirs who did their taxes for the first time, and I see some Googleable mistakes on there. You don't have to be a tax code expert in order to prepare taxes, right? So, of course, that's my bread and butter, and I consume it, and I become a student to the game. But for every tax preparer who is just preparing taxes for, maybe somebody who just got like W-2 income, yeah, they don't understand tax code. Yeah, they don't really know what all of the forms mean, right? But don't make a Googleable error. That is just like, okay. So when you're making mistakes, these are also chances, and the chances make champions. I believe in that. I believe that you have to get outside of your comfort zone in order to really make a big difference or a big change in your situation, in your life, in your business. So, while chances make champions, eliminating those unnecessary risks make winners, okay? But let me keep on going. We're not going to reinvent the wheel here, right? That's another unnecessary risk. And that unnecessary risk comes because we are like, no, I have to do this differently because everybody does it this way. If everybody in your industry mixes and masters this way, yeah, you might be able to innovate some things, but for the first go around, while you're just trying to establish your business as a part of this industry, as a solution to this problem, and target that same market, you don't reinvent the wheel. That's a necessary cost and risk that we could just get rid of. So that is our first component of making mistakes. You have to get rid of the unnecessary risk. Now, the second component, customer service. And I want to say a lot about this because this is interesting, and this is something that I have gone through the ebbs and flows of throughout business. But customer service is in place to prevent the problems or the strife that might come in your company, but they are also in place for when those things do arise, right? You typically don't need a huge customer service component when everything is automated, the client is taken care of, they came and got the service that they wanted, and it's all done. The real customer service comes into play when that client is not satisfied, or they do not get what they came for, or they were, some mistake happened. As a business owner, I don't care if you have an entire customer service department. You take the brunt of all of that. So when a company wins big, yes, you will win big as a business owner. But when a company takes a hit, and a hit can be as small as one mistake by one employee that you already know exactly how they did it, and you kind of understand it. It ain't even a fireable expense, but it's going to cost you money. that comes on you. And the more you start to think about that, the more you will get into the groove of customer service. So, for instance, if you've ever received a 1-star review, right, in your business, that person doesn't always just say that this is a terrible company, a terrible service, a terrible everything. They usually say one component was terrible. And listen, okay? Not that I've gotten many, but it's usually the service was cool. What they said they were going to do was deliver, but the but is what made them go to the 1-star. And that 1-star came from, but I tried to call them and they didn't answer the phone. But I told them they made a mistake and they said, no, you made the mistake. But I asked for a refund and they said, we don't do that. Or, but they gave me a refund, but they also didn't make good on whatever mistake already happened, right? So you got your refund because they messed up your order, but you still hungry. So you gonna give me some more food or what we doing? So that component of mistakes is something that needs to be at the top of your business, because we love when people sing our praises and give us good reviews and testimonials and all that good stuff, right? It helps, but you have to ask for those most times. Most times people are not going on there like, baby, I got to get them a 5-star because they were just so good. But guess what you don't have to ask for? That 1-star. That 1-star was brewing the moment they got off the phone with you because you was talking crazy. And a lot of times that 1-star, that was 10 plus years in business, Jesus, okay. That 1-star, it came because they did something incorrectly in your processes. So we'll bring it to the tax business, right? Sorry, I got a light that's kind of doing something, so you get both versions. But that 1-star comes because they came to you to get their taxes prepared, right? So your engagement letter and the components of what you are going to be providing to them is to prepare that tax return. You are getting paid for tax preparation, right? That refund comes late. The IRS, flags them and does a random audit, or the IRS just has tax delays, or they forgot to add a component to their tax return. Maybe it was a small W-2 what they were missing, or, oh, I forgot, I did pull some money out of my IRA that I'm missing, and now the IRS flagged them because some information was missing, right? This is all their fault, right? They come to you because they're upset because they still haven't gotten their refund. They are getting letters from the IRS. They can't get in touch with anybody. And while it is an additional fee, right? It's an additional fee for us to look over your IRS letters and to take care of them. That person doesn't need that right now. They not coming to me talking about they got this IRS letter because they made a mistake. They say you made the mistake and it's your fault and you should ask me. You should, and guess what? As a business owner who has been in this business for so long, if I can't point to the number of times that we had conversations about the type of documentation, or when I asked explicitly, was this all of the type of income that they had or anything like that, it is my first response to say, let's get this fixed. So they are saying that document that you forgot about, they didn't put on there. So look, I'm going to waive the amended fee. I'm going to waive the IRS doc preparation or review fee, and we're going to get this taken care of for you as fast as possible. The IRS is just, and we don't have time to play with them. Let's get this done for you today, right? That's an easy conversation. Versus if you have someone that's like, listen, I did my part. I prepared what you gave me, and this is on you, so you're going to have to give me another fee in order to make this happen. Those are two totally different types of customer service, right? And while you won't be making any additional money with that person, you won't technically be losing any money. You might lose a little bit of time because you have to put time and effort into responding to the IRS for them, but you will gain their trust. And now they know that you got their backs, right? And that's something that over the years has been interesting, because I've had clients where I wanted to go above and beyond for, but I could tell that they were just so outdone that they just couldn't get out of their own ways. And I have just said, okay, admit fault, right? These are 3 things that Alex Hormozi said, and I kind of really agree with them. Validate them. Don't minimize their feelings, right? So, oh my God, this is totally a reason to be upset, right? Period. Yes, I'm outdone too. Then take fault. You know what? I should have done my diligence a little more. I should have asked you more about the types of documents that you had, more about the types of income. Actually, when I saw that you switched jobs, I should have asked that you have a 401k at that previous job. You know what? That is my fault. And because of that, I'm going to change the way that I do everything with my intake clients from here on out, because this is something that I never, ever want to have happen again. And then be more upset than they are. Right? You want to let them know that, the IRS is just getting outrageous with how they're, picking on people who don't even make that much money, and they're letting the big guys go, and they are even paying less in taxes. And this is crazy because you have never owed any taxes or had to pay any taxes back. So they know this is due, you want to go above and beyond. And when he was saying that, it was so funny because it is the way we want to be handled. Right? And a huge component of customer service is handling someone the way you would want to be handled. The way you would want someone to handle your child. The way you want somebody to talk to your mama. Okay? That's how you're supposed to talk to people and have compassion for people. But a big part of this customer service piece, right? And it's not refunding them their fees, right? Because okay, now what? They okay, and now, like I said, I'm still hungry. You refunded me for this meal that I don't like, but I'm still hungry. It is being compassionate. If you don't have that, if you've never been, somebody has never said that that's an attribute of yours, go ahead and go find some. If you're in entrepreneurship. And then it's also being able to solve the problem. What happened with that mistake, and how do we fix it and prevent it from happening again? And maybe potentially it's a mistake that you can't fix for them, but you can let them know that they have been an advocate for everybody else who will ever come in your orbit, because you will fix it for the rest of your life. And these are the things that naturally come to compassionate people. But if you don't have no compassion, and you got to go get some real quick, you need to be taking some notes. All right? 2 goes into 3. My third component of making mistakes is stop being reactionary. Okay? And I want to give you a few places where I want you to look in your own businesses right now, even if you haven't even started it yet. I want you to start being proactive and contemplating what can potentially happen. And one of those points is, at what point can a mistake happen? So for us, we're collecting information in an online cloud-based secure portal. Meaning that I'm not going through the papers like this no more. Okay? Which means that I can overlook. Somebody can put multiple documents in one and I only see the first page. Somebody can upload to the wrong, folder or something. I'm working on 2023 and they done put something in 2025, whatever. So many things can happen. So contemplating where that mistake can happen and then figuring out a way to put that in place. Okay. So if I know that they could potentially upload to the wrong folder, Do I eliminate folders? Do I make sure when I go into the tax preparation phase of this thing that I look at all folders? What does that look like? Getting that process in place beforehand will save you on the back end. And that is something that happened with me, but I had to learn through the mistake. And I am telling you to learn and be proactive before the mistake happens, okay? Because trying to come back from a mistake is just like throw the whole day away, okay? But another one, at what point will your customers have buyer's remorse? This is something that is huge, especially if you have a high ticket offer. But it really, anybody who's like over $100 offer, your clients can be like, you know what, I spent all this money with you just to have this. When you have a low ticket, smaller item, most people are like, what was I expecting? What was I expecting from this $25, right? But when you have $2,500, $25,000 offer, you want to make sure that at every point from the time that they sign off on that contract and the time that you get your money through the time that you deliver and beyond, you are thinking about every single moment where they will say, oh, this is too much. Nah, she ain't worth $25,000. Oh, I don't know. You know, I could have put this on this one bill, or I could have invested this. At what points will your customers have buyer's remorse? That is a huge point and component that you need to be looking at. And then the third one is, what areas of your business have not changed since inception? Have you been using the same software, same processes, same everything, and you're expecting to make more money? Because you can't do the same thing over and over expecting different results, right? So if nothing in your business has changed, has shifted, has been reevaluated, has been re-researched, maybe that is the core problem. So a lot of mistakes are really based on this third component. And it is because we live in a reactionary world, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? That's the mindset of a lot of us. When maybe it ain't broke, but it's hanging on by a thread. Maybe you got some tape on it, but it's just one little break away from everything going kaput. So making sure that you are being proactive and contemplating when things are going to happen is another huge component to business, and especially to business growth. So I'm wrap it up for you real quick. You got 3 components in how to make a mistake and what the mistake says about you. And the first one is avoiding unnecessary risk. The second one is making sure that your customer service is on point. And number 3 is stop being reactionary and begin to contemplate. So I have a busy day today. So I wanted to make sure that I remained consistent and came on here and shared this with you. Again, I was just listening to some podcasts and thinking about as it relates to everything that I do. And now that moving into the season of coaching people on how to create and grow their tax businesses, it's a season where I am looking at every single thing in business frontwards and backwards to make sure that every single mistake is contemplated and every mistake has a great reaction that keeps your customer service first. So avoid unnecessary risk by getting help by people who've already been where you are trying to go. I'm going to leave you with that little tidbit. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I hope this gave you something. Oh, you know what? And I can't leave without saying this because this kind of hit me, okay? In listening to that same podcast with Alex Ramosi, he was saying that a lot of times your bottleneck or your stagnation in business where you are just not making what you think you should make, or that imposter syndrome even, right? Where you're like, I don't know if I can. All of that comes with a lack of preparation. He says, If you are giving it your all, you showing up, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day on social media, you are reaching out to your target market over and over and over and over with the same and different messages. You are creating content. You are restructuring your processes. You are generating leads and following up with them to the best of your ability at full capacity of your all. You will not be stagnant. And I agree with that. And my edges will snatch back off of that. So I'm laying that on y'all too. So if you're thinking about every single human in every single business makes mistakes. It could be a typo. It could be, a logo placement. It could be, I sent out a mass email and I said, dear client's name, and you ain't had your first name, so your stuff came as client's name. Those are mistakes. Those are things that can potentially cost you money, but those are things that we rectify and we proactively fix. Now I'll leave you. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Ask Jenni. Ask Jenni has been in the works since 2016. I have started tax team services, developed coaching programs for small business owners and tax professionals, and I've even started a podcast with my husband, Finding Love. You can follow me on Jenni L. Hendricks on all platforms. But before you leave, like, comment, subscribe, and ask Jenni anything. I'm here to talk to you more about business, life, love, and all things growth.